Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Chris G, and welcome to my new series called What's Going On. Hopefully in this series I'll be talking about things that are happening in the news and culture, religion. Hopefully there'll be things of interest to you. And make sure you subscribe and check me out from time to time. Today is Wednesday, January the 13th of 2016, and it's a big day for a lot of people because today the Powerball lottery has reached an incredible amount for winnings. As of midday today, it's at $1.5 billion. That's incredible. Normally the lottery gets around 500 million, maybe 600 million, but 1.5 billion is just crazy. And so last week when I was at work, some coworkers and I were sitting around talking and joking about what we would do if we were to win that type of money. And of course we talked about houses and cars and just all types of things we would do. But then later on I started thinking about there's some bad things that come out of lottery. You'd have to move, for example. You maybe couldn't keep some of the friends that you've had for a while. So I remember this TV series on TLC called The Lottery Changed My Life. And they had a lot of really cool stories on there about people who won the lottery, but there were also some pretty tragic stories out there too. So I want to share some of that with you today. This morning a friend of mine sent me an article from the New York Daily News, and it had stories basically saying that for some people the lottery was a curse. Let me give you some statistics. Nearly 33% of lottery winners end up broke within the first 5 years of winning. And nearly 70% of the winners end up broke within 7 years. And several of those winners have lost relationships. Their lives have been changed dramatically. Some of them have even died just because they won the lottery. So I'm going to share a couple stories with you. One of the unlucky winners was a guy named Abraham Shakespeare. I remember seeing this on the TLC show. And just weeks before Shakespeare was killed, he even told his mother that he wished he had never won the money. Shakespeare won $30 million in 2006. But a lot of his friends and families began to hound him for the money. His girlfriend even talked about the fact that when they would go shopping in the grocery store, strangers would walk up to him with these stories about, their kid dying from cancer, or they had a business opportunity. And he was a real soft-hearted guy. He would end up, giving people money, and he was spending a lot of his money on folks that he didn't even know. Ended up becoming friends with this woman named Doris Moore. And she tricked him into believing that she was going to protect him and from all these greedy people and protect his money. She ended up eventually convincing him to transfer over her assets to him. And then in 2009, he turned up missing. She ended up being convicted for murder of this guy. And ultimately, she ended up serving life without parole. The judge said that she was cold, calculating, and a cruel person. There was another guy named Jeffrey Dampier, and he won $20 million in the Illinois lottery before his own family turned against him. He used to shower his family members with cash and gifts, but evidently that wasn't enough for his sister-in-law, Victoria Jackson. Dampier ended up being kidnapped and shot in the back of the head by Jackson and her boyfriend around 7 years after he won the jackpot. And the couple's been charged with murder, and they're both serving life sentences in prison right now. And then there were those people who tried to do the right thing with the money, or good things with the money. A guy named Jack Whitaker in West Virginia, he was already worth about $17 million, but then he won $15 million in the Powerball jackpot in 2002. Now, Whitaker used most of his winnings for good. He did things like build churches, he donated money to nonprofits, 10% of his money went to Christian charities. He also launched his own foundation to provide clothes and food for low-income families. But then his life started to fall apart. Whitaker was arrested for drunk driving and then threatening a bartender after he hit it big. And then a woman sued him for groping her at a racetrack. And then on 2 separate occasions, he got robbed by thieves outside of a strip club. Once for like $500,000 and the other time for $200,000. Who carries that much money on them? Later on, his wife divorced him because he became an alcoholic. And then after supplying a 17-year-old granddaughter with a weekly allowance of $2,000, a little over that, she died of a drug overdose, and her boyfriend. And then Whitaker's daughter died later from some unknown cause. Whitaker and his wife later said that they wished they had torn up their lottery ticket. So what's my point? My point is that a lot of times people think money is the save all, the end all to everything, that if they had a lot of money, all of life's problems would go away. But I guarantee you, none of these people ever expected that their relationships would become so torn, that their lives would become so changed. In fact, that some of them would even be murdered over something as simple as winning a lottery. So be careful what you wish for, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show today, and make sure you come back to check out what's going on. This is Chris G. Take it easy.